Hello, and you are listening to the Book What's Better podcast, the podcast where we talk about the book of the film. I'm Luke.
I'm Leah.
And this week we're talking about The Babysitter's Club, the movie.
Hey you, put down the popcorn and turn on the light. It's gonna be alright, my friend. In the end, take my hand and trust me, the book was better.
Holy crap. Now, this is so exciting to me because you are the most reluctant guest host we've ever had. I have been hounding you for...
Quite a while, probably 2.5 years, I'd say.
Yeah, maybe. Probably about the length of the show, the time I've known you. I've been saying, hey, you want to do a podcast? And you've been like, not really.
No.
And I've been... But it took a very special book.
It took a classic. All you had to say was Babysitter's Club. And then all of a sudden, my little ears pricked up. And before you knew it, I was in.
It was all on. Well, look, I've got to say, I want to reiterate, I'm extremely excited about this because I very much respect your opinions and insights on things, Leah. Really enjoy, you and I have a lot of conversations where we talk about film and TV and books and really sort of get in there and pull them apart. So this is really cool for me to actually finally have you here. So I just want you to feel, relaxed. It's okay. Don't be intimidated by these people listening. Yeah, like the listeners, it's a global audience and we're always in the charts and all those sorts of things. But they're very belligerent.
Excellent.
And to be honest, like if you've ever heard the show, the sort of lineup of people that you're following, they're not that great. A lot of them can barely read.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Courtney doesn't even walk on her hind legs.
Okay,
yeah. You have to actually tie her to a post near the microphone because she'll just wander off.
Right. Well, you've got me sitting here.
Yeah.
So started well.
So feel relaxed, feel safe.
Yep.
If you want to come up with a safe word, anything, if it goes into any sort of territory where you're thinking, no, I'm not comfortable with this, or I don't want to talk about that aspect or whatever, that's fine as well. I was going to organise a little bell or something that you could ring.
Yeah.
So pineapple, something like that. It's fine.
Oh, it'd probably have to be something babysitter related, wouldn't it? Cookie. Oh, no, that can't be the safe word because you're going to say that all the time.
It's very close to cokey.
Yeah.
Well, no, but just real safe. So, you tell me about the Babysitter's Club because this is... I know nothing about it as a series, and this is something you're familiar with.
Yes, well, the Babysitter's Club goes back to the 80s. Well, that's my memory of it.
Yeah.
The late 80s, I think. And I don't know if it was... in fact, it wouldn't be the original, of course. There'd be lots of other stuff that came before. But for me, it was the original kind of tween series that just got me hooked. And when I was finishing this book, and at the end, they've got the list of all...
It's like
76. And I was saying to Emma last night, I think I had every single one of those. And I can just imagine my parents buying me those books and still trying to keep the smile on their face, even though they knew it was trash. But they absolutely, I absolutely loved it. And they must have come out once every few months, I think, because there's so many. And surely by the time I got to 13, I was almost ready to give up. I don't know, but I do remember reading every single one of them.
It was Anne M. Martin. Did she write them all, or was it like a sweatshop sort of thing by the end?
Oh, look, I wouldn't know. As a
given
child, this was before the internet. We couldn't find this stuff out. I don't even know what the woman looks like.
Yeah,
it didn't matter. It was all about the babysitter girls and how American and wonderful they were.
If anybody wants a sort of reference point, I suppose, just to how many of these books are, if you line them all up, it's about double Wheel of Time. It's massive. A lot of things happened in that year.
Yes.
That they opened the club. All right. Well, I guess one of my first sort of questions as we start to get into this actual text, because this is the movie that was... I don't know what year the movie was, but certainly a lot... mid-90s, 95,
Mid-90s.
Which is crazy.
Wow.
You forget, you think 90s are really modern and they're not. Yeah. Especially we'll see when we get into the technology that these girls are trying to operate their fledgling business with. But I'm curious as to, you would have found these books quite naturalized at the time, and the values and everything thought it must have been like reasonably appealing.
Massively
appealing. Did you feel picking it up now as an adult that you were going to be like, oh my God, why didn't I not see all this stuff? Or do you still feel like, oh no, like it's pretty much par for the course?
Yeah, I think, well, this would be one text where there is that nostalgia, because it probably was one of the few things other than, say, Madonna, where I was really obsessed over, and I did buy every single one of them, or my parents did. So reading it now, you can see how ridiculous it is, yet it doesn't have that same kind of I don't have the same kind of criticism of it. I just think, oh yeah, this is so silly, but it's still better than Gossip Girl.
Does this stand up? Like, is it in line with what she did in the books, or is this feel radically different?
No, completely. You'd think it was her.
Okay.
Well, not having read a book for 20 years, I'd say, from my memory.
No one's going to check.
Yes, the writings is wonderful.
We can make
the characters
outrageous,
are as developed.
Outrageous claims. No one's going to know.
And this also happened, which was, you'd had the individual writing of the girls in the book, so they each had their very own style, and the little hearts for dots instead from different girls, and Claudia with all her mistakes.
So different point of view characters. Do you think that inspired George R.R. Martin, perhaps, with Game of Thrones, doing the different viewpoints, different characters, different sections?
No, you've misunderstood. They didn't have different viewpoints in books. Each book focused on one character.
Okay.
But at the start, you always had
a bit of diary.
a little bit of writing. But I think that's something he could. He could. I would like to see what Daenerys' writing looks like.
Yeah.
As opposed to, say,
Jon Snow.
The Mountain. The giants. I mean, surely there's still a few more of them around.
Riding with a big ashen tree trunk.
Well, they had a massive arrow. They can have a big pencil.
They had a snuffleupagus.
Yeah.
I don't want to alarm anybody, but I saw it with my own eyes.
But they're dead now, but we won't mention that.
But this was not Anne M. Martin. This was A.L. Singer, which is actually a pseudonym for Peter Larangus, if I'm saying that correctly. No idea.
No idea.
Who wrote books like in the 39 Clues series. So he's written a lot of young adult, younger reader kind of books. He also was the author of many other Disney books, such as Rescuers Down Under novelization and The Little Mermaid. Plus, Pod Race to Freedom --Gamebook Star Wars Episode 1 Adventures Gamebook, Volume 14 close parentheses.
Did you read that one?
No, I read the title and then I was exhausted. I had to lay down. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, which I believe I have in the collection somewhere. License to Drive. Do you remember? You know what License to Drive is?
I don't remember that one.
Take Corey Haim.
Oh, yes.
Add Corey Feldman. Hilarity ensues in a car. Yeah. And Surf Ninjas, a novel. And we don't have this one, but I'm going to put out the bounty. We don't do a book was better bounty very often, but if anyone can find Surf Ninjas, a novel, and send that my way, I promise we'll cover it, because, listen to this, published to coincide with the release of a major motion picture starring Leslie Nielsen of Naked Gun. Teenage California surfer brothers Adam and Johnny have their lives turned inside out when they discover that they are long-lost heirs to an exotic Asian kingdom.
Wow.
That
sounds brilliant.
That sounds really good. It sounds like the kind of caliber of book that we would just adore on the show. So if anyone's got that, I'd love to know. But, all right, as you said, the beginning is a prologue. So it actually begins with this very convoluted assumed knowledge prologue in the hard-to-read handwriting of 1,000 different girls.
Well, maybe if you've never been a teenage girl before, it would be hard to read. But for those of us who have, it's very simple.
Been with a teenage girl before.
And it was...
What was you saying?
We'll leave that one.
What was you saying? Pineapple! I was a teenager once. Come on. I didn't pop out.
You didn't put love hearts for eyes, dots, did you?
No.
No way, Jose. No, you didn't.
No. I've sometimes had that thing where I stare at someone with the love hearts in my eyes. I'll edit that out. I won't really. That's the other thing I say I'll do and I don't. So look, all these girls, look, Leah, I got to admit, I found this incredibly, like, you knew what you were coming into. You knew this cast of characters. Now I understand, like, how people who haven't seen Star Wars look at all these characters and just go, what the Christ is this? Like, I've got no idea who any of these people are, how they relate, or why you would be interested in this. Yeah. This is my experience with we can say the BSC, can't we?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, the BSC. So, this is the official Babysitters Club notebook summer session. All these girls have contributed, and this is my feeling as to what's going on here. This is my guess. You can tell me if I'm close.
Okay.
So, Christy is a malevolent whipcracker who demands...
No goof-ups, no surprises, a normal summer equals happy clients. Don't forget that.
I'm not comfortable with the young girls referring to them as clients. That conjures up this
whole... Look, it's a business. You know they're in it for a profit.
Yeah.
No, you're right. It seems very
Hollywood
cold.
Madam, I thought.
Well, that might be taking a bit too far. Again, remember this was my tween childhood experience.
I know, but we're going to reflect on this as cynical adults. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I mean, they don't appear very much in it anyway.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
Not the parents of the kids. No, the kids just magically appear.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well, it was the late 80s, early 90s, so, you know, people weren't so paranoid.
That was a time when reality really bit, if I recall.
Yes.
Okay, so some of my listeners here, get out a notebook. So Christy was your first one. Stacey McGill is a vain clothes horse who can't control the kids.
Marnie Barrett threw SpaghettiOs at me this afternoon. I ask you, have you ever tried washing that stuff out of a brand new white shirt?
First world problems.
Yes. Look, it's an important problem too. She does care for her fashion, and that's her whole identity.
Do you remember in high school when you were just so desperate to avoid an unfortunate spaghetti-o, as the kids used to call them?
I never had SpaghettiOs, so I never. That's one element where I didn't feel anxiety over, which was probably good.
The only one.
That's right.
Marianne Spears.
Oh, Marianne.
She's given up on life.
Yeah,
also, can't control the kids, which is ironic for a club which is, named after their ability to control kids. She sighs in resignation after these kids paint the dog.
Yeah, but I mean that's very early on in the book, though. Later on,
she's got a character arc.
She shows some skill, I think.
She's had 70-odd books to show some skill, though.
Just in this one even. I don't know about the film, but...
I don't know where this fits in terms of the books, like if this is a prequel or a...
Oh, look, I've got no idea either.
Yeah.
No. Because they do get older, so I think this is meant to have happened sometime earlier.
I think it's a reboot.
But anyway, we won't worry too much about timelines.
Continuity.
Yeah.
I've mapped it out. Dawn Schaefer is a hyped-up maniac with delusions of grandeur.
As Dawn says, the odds were overwhelming. Never in 4 years has anyone attempted this task and survived until now. Let it be known that I, Dawn, got Margie Klinger to eat vegetables today. The Nobel Peace Prize Committee can reach me care of the BSC.
More like, Peace Prize Committee, am I right?
Yes.
Like, who does Dawn think she is, honestly? And then Claudia, I think it's Kishi, I couldn't read it, is barely literate. She writes cutting hair, Cutinghaре, and is also completely paranoid.
Yes, her first thoughts were, I thought Mrs. Marshall would kill me today.
And notice she didn't even think it, she thought it.
Thought it, yes, That's right.
Is there a deal with Claudia?
Well, she is meant to be dyslexic. If,
okay.
The many errors, which clearly would suggest, no, she's not dyslexic at all. But no,
I thought she was.
I think that's what her character's meant to be. But of course, not that they're stereotyping, but she has, I think, Japanese mother, or maybe both parents are Japanese, in fact. And so there's a lot of pressure on her to succeed academically, whereas in fact she's just very arty.
Yeah, she's the arty one. That's how we remember her.
There. Yeah.
I thought maybe just reading what she'd written that she was 3, like she was the practice baby that they sat, in their training rituals. But no, turns out, a lot of these expectations got shot once it got going. And I was going to say finally. No, we're not that lucky. Mallory Pike's parents like to fuck.
Sometimes, just sometimes, it pays to have 7 brothers and sisters. You see every trick in the book.
Yeah, what's going on there? They big family.
Yeah.
And Jessica Ramsey, whose writing, for me, took about 30 minutes to decode. And she's a subversive who put a 2-year-old boy in a tutu. And then now...
Yes, Jerry refuses to take his tutu off. The Spencers aren't smiling anymore.
That might be uncomfortable, the suggestion here.
Yes.
Like, that they think that... Like, a lot of gender things happening here. That they think because this Spencer family think that she's suddenly, like, made their son gay because they were, like, playing dress-up, these young children.
Well, I think that was one of probably many where you thought this is dated. The book, where probably now, I don't know, you wouldn't get that so much anymore.
Well, we have entire movies which are dedicated to letting young men know that it's okay to dance. That, like, being a dancer is great.
Yeah.
And women love dancers.
It must have been before the Billy film. I forget what that one is.
Billy Elliot. Yeah. My grandparents loved that, but they weren't so sure about all the swearing.
And he wasn't in a pink tutu, was he? Either?
No, I don't think so.
So that might have made the difference.
Yeah. So, look, 7 characters to keep track of. 7 young women that comprise this club. Mm-hmm. But this is the real beginning. Chapter 1. Dawn, I hear Alan Gray likes you, said Jessie Ramsey.
Dawn Schaefer shivered at the thought. Being liked by Alan Gray was a little like discovering a pimple on your nose. It will always bother you, no matter how hard you try to ignore it. Alan was 13, like Dawn, but his maturity level was somewhere between preschool and Neanderthal.
Mallory Pike grinned. Just likes her? Or likes her?
That dweeb, Dawn said. Spare me. It doesn't matter anyway, because I don't like him or like him.
The 3 girls turned the corner to Bradford Court. Dawn's stepsister, Mary Ann Spear, tagged behind. With a dreamy smile, she gazed at the trees and sniffed the faint scent of honeysuckle.
Summer vacation had just begun for the students of Stony Brook Middle School in Stony Brook, Connecticut. At 5:15 in the evening, the sun was still strong, but the air had a clear, late spring coolness.
I don't think I've ever read a American book where the children are school age, where they are actually shown at school. Or if they are at school, they're in a cafeteria. They're never actually in a class. So
true.
I thought this was kind of like High School Musical. Barely has the actual high school in it.
Yeah, sometimes they're in the class.
Do you notice? Or no, but normally, like, they're in the class and the teacher goes, and then the bell rings and everybody just gets the hell out of there. Like, they don't have to wait to be dismissed or anything. They're jumping out windows. They're barreling down the corridor.
This is where I like Peanuts, Never Pretended. Remember the teachers on Peanuts?
Yeah.
Always, ma. Yes.
Yeah. And High School Musical doesn't have a musical in it.
Yes, it does.
No, they're going to do a musical. They audition.
Oh,
never
but
happens.
they never get through. Oh, right.
Tell you
Well, I was trying not to slip my wrists the whole time, so...
Tell you another secret.
Yeah.
High School Musical 2
yes.
doesn't have a musical in it.
No musical.
And they're on vacation. They're not at high school.
Oh, yes, they're on some golf course or something.
Yeah, it's on a golf course.
You see, I went...
They should call that movie Golf Course Talent Show.
They should. It's misleading.
It is misleading.
Yeah.
High School Musical 3.
At least this has got babysitters in it.
And a club.
Kind of.
Yeah.
There was no musical in that one either?
No, there is a musical.
Oh, there
Spoilers.
you go. Well, that's all right.
So they head to Claudia Kish's place because Claudia Kish's bedroom was the official BSC headquarters, mainly because Claudia was the only member with her own phone line. A better name for it, though, might have been the Black Hole of Stony Brook. I thought that was a bit sinister.
Yeah, I don't know why they describe it like that, because... There's at no point in the story that would suggest that it's anything untoward and any kind of black hole or...
Yeah.
That's very
That'd be
strange.
like you saying casually to a friend tomorrow, well, yeah, I recorded at Luke's place last night, or should I say the shithole of the western suburbs.
Not what you typically find in Netherlands.
Yeah.
Christy was the BSC president, although she was just 5 feet tall. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. She dominated the meetings, but no one minded too much. After all, Christy had invented the Babysitters Club. It all had started as a simple idea. A few neighbourhood girls who'd meet 3 times a week to book babysitting jobs. But it became much more than that. It became a club of absolute best friends. delusions.
Few things I'd pick apart here.
Oh, yes.
Don't know if many clubs, organisations, businesses, leadership sort of policies are height-based.
Hype-based?
Height-based.
Oh, height.
I don't know if it's usually,
Oh, yes. Well, not in Japan.
Tallest person.
Definitely
no.
not in Japan.
No.
Sweden, maybe.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be the tallest rule.
Yeah.
Survival of
Tony
the
Abbott's not very
tallest. We had some people on the, it's the one thing I didn't comment on. It's because I make fun of America all the time. And then one of the Americans posted some footage of Tony Abbott and was like, is this guy for real? And I'm like, not going to say anything.
Yeah, unfortunately so.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it started off as a simple thing. I'm going to argue it kind of finishes off as a simple thing too.
Yeah, and it doesn't achieve much either, does it?
Oh, I've got a lot of qualms
discuss
about
later.
The viability of this club.
Yeah.
But we will get there.
But, you know, just before you move on, this has actually reminded me that one point, I'm pretty sure me and 3 friends tried to set up our own Babysitters Club.
That's what I was going to ask you at the beginning, and I forgot. Like, if you were enamoured by these books, did you? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, but it's taken me this long. It's taken me having read the book and now in the discussion for that, you know, terrible memory that I've obviously locked away somewhere out of sheer embarrassment to remember that, yes, we did. And I think maybe we met twice and we actually did put up some posters around the delis because there was delis at that time. And we might have had a couple of phone calls.
Were you a leader or a follower? Were you like a Christy or a Claudia? Is there a character
well, I'd be
that you...
Christy in height, but I cannot remember at all, unfortunately.
That's funny.
Like I said, I think I have just tried to blank that out. So thank you for drawing that memory back.
In 1984, we used to go... There was this, like, big clump of bushes that had a little place underneath where you could sit, and we'd talk about starting a ghost-busting franchise.
Oh, yeah.
And we'd look at all the supernatural and unsolved mystery books in the library, and we're just convinced, this is viable. Like, you could travel around the world, like, busting ghosts, because these books would talk about all these, like, hauntings and things, and if it was in a book, you would think, this is all true.
Had to be true.
Has to be. Interesting. What do you think about even the whole, like, this is one of those tricky ones. This is one of those gender things about, like, babysitting as something that people want to do.
Yes,
I know. As a thing.
Yeah,
and there are so many girls' toys and things which are lead you towards, like, rearing babies and things like that, to the point where I almost have, like, this wacky conspiracy theory that all of our pop culture toys, everything, are really gearing us towards just doing those basic, like, survival roles that we have to do.
Yeah.
Like, that there's somebody going, well, no, we have to keep the planet going and we need more babies and we need people to be invested in babies.
Yeah.
Because if you stopped and thought about babies for a second, you'd just be like, oh, no, that's kind of shit. Like, I don't know if I'd want to do that.
Well, there is a lot of shit.
Yeah.
After babies.
But it's, like, ingrained at such an early age. And then boys are all about, like, guns and killing and stuff like that, which also seems to be one of those things that people have decided
it's
we
early
need.
Army recruitment.
Well, most American films, we've talked about this on the show before, they feel like recruitment videos. This idea of you've got to be a hero and you've got to put everybody else first and you've got to protect your freedoms and you've got to go out there and put it on the line. And if you go out and take necessary risks at the whims of somebody else, you're a hero. Yeah.
But haven't they actually, the American Army or whatever it is, hasn't it been found out they actually do pay money to certain films to help finance films and so on?
There are people like Michael Bay always, like, boasts about how he's pretty much in bed with the army. Like, he can get hold of all this equipment, some of the stuff that hasn't even ever been seen before and will get, like, seen for the first time in a Transformers movie or something.
Yeah, I thought I did read something about that once, that does happen.
Yeah. So I don't know, babysitting. I wonder what the appeal is, that's all. And,
Yeah, I don't know, because I did do it for a while after this failed babysitting club attempt, but because there were some kids down the road. So for quite a few years I looked after them, but never actually any babies. So I think the term is also a bit misleading.
It is.
Because they're not going to let, 12-year-olds look after babies, rightfully.
Yeah.
So it's usually kids about, 8 or 10, I think.
Yeah. And
no, maybe a bit younger.
As we've already thumbed through their psychological profiles at the beginning of the book, I just don't know if any of them should be left alone with a child. Anyway, look, turns out I was super wrong, and this is easy to follow because Mary Ann's mum had died when she was a baby, and Christy's father had abandoned the family when Christy was 6. Not long ago, though, Mr. Spear married Dawn's mum and moved into the Schaefer's rambling farmhouse, and Christy's mum married a millionaire named Watson Brewer, so the Thomas clan, which included Christy and 3 brothers, moved clear across town into the Brewer mansion.
Yeah, see, clear,
Simple.
easy. Yeah,
easy. I've got it now. Locked in.
Yeah.
I am going to need a flowchart, though, because Jessie and Mallory are 11-year-old junior officers who are not allowed to babysit at night.
Strange. Maybe if they have a babysitter.
A babysitter.
Babysitter.
It's like a whole Russian nesting dolls thing happening here.
That's right.
So Mallory is the pale, bespectacled redhead, and Jessie is described as African-American, thin and elegant, and wanted more than anything to be a famous ballerina. I guess I'm writing all this down really just to get it into my head and try and get these characters into the audience's head.
Yeah.
Claudia was Japanese-American, and Christy admired her jet black hair, which today was slicked back with styling mousse.
Ooh,
which is...
I can picture it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would be Cindy Crawford style.
And they say that she was late to the meeting because she was on the phone to her parents. But I thought the whole point was that she had her own phone line. So wasn't that in her bedroom where they had the meetings?
Don't ask questions.
And Claudia's last talk with her parents was a long lecture about her crazy clothes, her wild hairstyles, her mediocre grades, and her junk food habit.
Yeah.
Which is par for the course in this book.
This is about 2 pages in, isn't it? Or 3 pages in.
Yeah, well, look,
Still.
this episode is weighted in a really weird way because I'm furiously writing these notes going, I need to understand all these characters and how it all works because this will be important and it's important to the listeners. There's a point where I give up and I go, this isn't important. And I watch the movie and then I go, oh, no, this is just simple. We don't need to worry about any of this.
Yeah.
But look, we're still going. Stacey is the fashion fiend from New York City with a chic and sophisticated taste and diabetes.
Yes, diabetes. It's shameful. You don't want anyone to know that you have diabetes.
This is the last thing you want people to know.
Look, there's a lot of things that you could tell people. Like maybe, you're 17 and want to go out with a 13-year-old, but diabetes, Jesus Christ.
I just find people with diabetes are really lame. That's my issue with it.
Look, if you can't handle sugar, I just think maybe you should just be able to die. Because it's part of our society and
Sugar's
it's like gluten-free.
Such a soft, easy, fun thing.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to handle something like a switchblade if sugar gets you all, ooh, Come on.
That's right.
So look, our first real drama is that Claudia flunked science and has to go to summer school and quit the club completely if she doesn't get at least a C+.
Yeah.
I thought flunked is just such a fun, frivolous word.
Yes. You don't hear it very often anymore. It's one of those that should come back a little bit more, I think.
For me, I think it shows that sort of cavalier attitude that these characters in these kind of books have towards their school life.
Yeah.
It's not like failed.
Yeah.
Like you have failed is really quite heavy.
Yeah.
But I just flunked. So throwaway and fun.
But I think later they say failed. Once the pressure starts piling on, she recognises the failure of it.
Because I think, flunked sounds fun. I want to flunk at least once in my life.
Yeah.
Mother flunker. And then they all get these crazy babysitting jobs scheduled and they get prank called by a weirdo called Cokie Mason.
Yeah, your favourite character, I think.
I think she is Cokie Mason.
She's pretty cokey.
That was the first question I had to you, was like, is this something we're supposed to know? Because it's written as though we should know this character.
Look, I had no memory of her.
Surely you'd remember Cokie Mason. She's a mean girl.
She's a mean girl, yeah. I don't remember Mean Girls in Babysitter's Club.
I keep reading Cokie Mason and reading it as Cookie Monster all the way through. I reckon maybe her parents, like maybe her mum had a coke habit.
Well, this is what I'm thinking. I was thinking maybe actually Singer maybe had a little bit of a cokey before and thought, I know, this will spice things up.
Cokie Mason.
Yeah.
And Stacey goes to sit 7-year-old Rosie and hears that her cousin from Switzerland is going to be there. So this is what she takes him in true patriotic fashion.
Stacy reached in and pulled out a tiny plastic American flag. Waving it daintily in the air, she said, I also bought a little something for your little cousin. Where is he?
She's no doubt going to plant it in his head after she conquers him.
Yeah.
But oh no, it turns out the cousin is 17 and you've got to say this.
Okay, real live, hunkified teenage boy.
Now I know why Peter Larangus uses a pseudonym. You can imagine him just blushing as he's sitting in there writing about these hunkified teenage boys. He does it well though, to his
Flunked
credit.
and hunkified.
I'm about to flunkified, and meanwhile, she's out there getting hunkified. Doesn't seem fair, does it?
That's right.
It's really seedy, actually, because I don't know how old Stacey is at this point. Turns out she's 13.
Yeah.
But Luca, the Swiss boy, is 17 years old, and he really just does not give a shit, apparently, because he's supposed to be going to a movie, but...
When Luca answered, he was looking into Stacy's eyes. I have my whole life to go to the movies. Stacy hoped Rosie would go to bed early that night.
Yeah.
He's a smooth talker. You know what those Swiss are like.
Yes, I like putting holes in things.
Yes, that's right.
But,
I'm sure in this case he wants to feel a hole.
Yes,
but,
he's a whole expert from Switzerland.
Yes.
Because, I mean, you've been a 13-year-old girl. You might have a better understanding of her motivations. I've been a 17-year-old boy, and I know what their motivations are like. Mm-hmm. And I was treating this like a horror movie where you're going, get out of the house!
Yeah, it's very hard to picture, though, because you'd imagine that she can't look 13, I suppose. She looks older. Didn't you reckon whenever you watched American films, or still do, but when you were a kid and you watched American films, you always thought American kids looked so much older, or even documentaries, they look so much older than you.
It's the Jerry Springer effect. You watch Jerry Springer and they put this like woman up there who starts talking about some hillbilly shenanigans that went on, and then the caption comes up and says like Lola Jean 17, and I think I swore she was 38.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Whole
so
different.
I could understand, innocent boy from the Alps, Americans, they look older, but that said, the picture's on the front. I mean, if this is what she looks like,
this
then...
is her, I believe, isn't it?
Oh, well,
the tall
maybe
blonde
if it's
one.
her.
Yeah.
Maybe
it's this
she
one.
was 15. No, I think that's Dawn, because she's got the hippie skirts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not
that's
sophisticated.
Kristen.
Come on, sophisticated white shirt with a spaghetti-o.
Yeah, spaghetti-o stain.
Jeez.
Lingering.
Yes.
It gets worse anyway. And I still don't have a handle of who any of these girls are, because we go then to behind him, Mary Ann and her boyfriend Logan Bruno, add him to your spreadsheet, brought their horses to a stop. It had been a good ride. As Christy, Mary Ann and Logan praised Jackie for his progress, Cokie Mason emerged from the stable, and her friends Grace Bloom and BB Hansen followed close behind. Who are all these people? It's like a clown car. They're just all like climbing out everywhere. And as we said, Cokie Mason, cliched bully villain. She calls the BSC girls goody two-shoes. She's got two idiot henchmen. It's very Draco Malfoy.
Yeah.
And she wants to get it on with the dreamy Logan, who I see Cookie Monster when I read Cokie Mason. I see Wolverine when I read Logan. I was very confused.
Yeah.
Here's a little interaction.
Cookie was in deep conversation with Logan. Fifth row, centre. Mary Ann heard Logan say, "How did you get them?" Cookie's eyes darted towards Mary Ann, then back to Logan. "I knew you'd say yes," she said, actually loudly. Anyway, I'll pretend I said that loudly. "Just think, you, me, and Smashing Pumpkins."
Firstly, that is a diversion. That's dishonest of authors, isn't it? To put in how they said it after they've said it.
Yes, well, I read it
Because even if
completely
you're reading
wrong.
it in your head,
Yeah, I
you're
know.
like, you're interpreting it, and then they're going, no, you're wrong.
Yeah,
Rude.
that's right.
It's rude. Smashing Pumpkins. The funny thing is, we're reading this book, and I'm going, oh, this is also dated. Oh, what a bunch of dummies living in the past. And then I'm like, Smashing Pumpkins. Oh, I feel so old.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're contemporary, aren't they? They're probably like 89 years old now.
What, the pumpkins
The band,
themselves?
yeah,
They probably
Corbin.
do like the shriveled old pumpkins left over
They are.
after Halloween, I
True.
think, is what they must look like.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he was bald for a long time anyway, leading up to it, so maybe he's been able to hide it a bit better than the others. But did you notice too, later on, so they drop in Smashing Pumpkins, which, if my cultural knowledge is correct, 1995 was probably around the height of their most mainstream fame with, Bullet with butterfly wings and whatever else it was. But later on, Logan, when he's trying to make it up to Marianne, he asks her if she wants to listen to the new Ace of Base CD.
Oh, yeah.
So, look.
What was this? I saw the... Was that the... I saw the sign, yeah.
So you can't like Smashing Pumpkins and Ace of Base.
How do you think Smashing Pumpkins would have felt about this in 1995, though? Like, I just can't imagine that this was their target demographic.
Look, I think they probably, they were ticking some boxes, some lists, and they were saying, did cameo on The Simpsons, tick, got mentioned Babysitter's Club, film, book, whatever,
I heard they wrote that Today Is the Greatest Day song after they heard about this film. So exciting. Meanwhile, Luca is making an actual date with Stacey. And Peter Larangus is really getting down to business here, not holding back. It's the best, Stacey said.
You mean like you? Luca added.
Gulp. Stacey turned to face Luca. His smile was like Christmas.
Then slowly he leaned closer.
His smile was like Christmas.
I don't know what a smile like Christmas would actually look like.
Arguments, disappointment, but it ends with pudding.
That's right.
Yeah.
It probably would have been more appropriate if, his smile was like a pedo at Christmas, perhaps.
Opening up a box set of Punky Brewster. We go to Christie's house and meet at least 8 new characters, including David, Michael, Emily, Michelle, Karen, and Andrew. It's only like we're already having trouble keeping up the characters, and they give them 2 names each.
Yeah, I remember that actually used to really annoy me. I used to think, what a dumb name, David Michael. And they always refer to him as David Michael, which is really stupid.
And we've got Watson, we've got Mrs. Brewer, we've got Charlie, we've got Sam. This is where I gave up. And it all amounts to nothing more this scene than Christy wanting and being denied her own phone line. I mean, like, the future is going to blow these kids' minds when they realise. Wouldn't you like... If I had a time machine, I would go back and just, like, be waving around the iPhone going, like, you guys don't know shit about what's going to happen soon.
They'd probably shoot you dead.
And this was the point where I realised, I've just read too much into this. I'm watching the movie, watched the movie, realised that this was all the first 3 minutes of the movie and wasn't important.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
3 minutes?
This is about 3 minutes of the movie.
Wow, okay, yeah.
So look, Stacey is not worried about the fact that she's 13, but is worried that the 17-year-old Luca will think she's pathetic because of her diabetes. That's the message.
Yeah.
He'll think it's lame. He'll think she can't keep up the pace. And this also concerns me as well.
The meeting began at 5:30 sharp with a treasurer's report from Stacey. After dues, we'll have $58, she said. But after the phone bill and the kid kit supplies, we'll have $11.47. Split,
I assume, between 7 people. So I'm really not sure about the viability of this club at this point. I think they should be charging $11.47 an hour at least. So the fact that they've been plugging away at this... It's already a doomed enterprise.
Look, they know they're terrible. You pick that up in the opening pages. Those parents are just going for bargain basement babysitting. So, and the girls are taking it where they can get it.
Because if you, in good faith, hired these girls, you're a dog lover, you come back, the dog's painted, are you going to pay them the full amount? I would actually
set the dog on them.
Ask for some money in return, which might have eaten into their profits. Maybe, let's just predict now, maybe it's a Mighty Ducks situation where they're the underdog and at the end they're going to be just millionaires.
Okay,
let's see if that pans out. Yeah. And then they make a plan to start a daycare summer camp for kids in the backyard, which is basically the whole meat of this book. And they're going to have first aid tents and porta potties and all sorts of other crazy shit that $11 isn't going to cover.
I know.
Pony rides, bouncy castle.
And the thing is they're also damn excited about it.
Yeah.
When Christy suggests it, I'm thinking, what? I couldn't imagine a worse way to spend my summer than setting up a bloody camp in someone's backyard and having to look after all these kids.
I was just thinking about the toileting, all that sort of stuff. Like, it sounds like a nightmare. And it turns out the porta potties don't even arrive on time. It's just an absolute disaster.
Well, I actually thought the porta potties were just going to be potties. Until I realised there were actually the portaloos that we know, but maybe in America when you go to festivals, like their big summer festival. I forget what that's called. Instead of going, oh yeah, those portaloos, they go porta potties. You know, with their bum bags and no, they call them fanny bags. Yeah, God, I found that hilarious.
Back fanny, not the
very
front
funny.
one. Speaking of which, I always wonder when the first burger is going to drop in one of these books, because it's a pretty much, if there's an American book, there's going to be a hamburger.
Okay.
People think we exaggerate. Sometimes Americans, usually they're pretty cool with it. Sometimes they go, oh, you know, you keep making fun of this sort of thing. We're not making it up. Here it is. Thursday, they all treated themselves to dinner at Burger Town. It's not a franchise. It's actually a whole district. The mayor of Burger Town, he's wonderful. He's got the big cheeseburger head and the purple sash. The girls walked to their favourite booth in the back and ordered enormous custom-made burgers. So there we go. We do have someone keeping burger statistics, so it's very important that we're legally obliged to mention that. They think that this summer camp is going to net them $4,000 profit.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So let's see how far off the mark they are by the end.
Yeah,
$4,000 is our figure, which is enough to buy an office and a fax machine. Seriously, like, future technology is going to astound these poor girls. And can you imagine? Like, it's 95 too. They're only a couple of years away from the internet being a mainstay.
Yeah.
I don't even know if anyone's going to take that fax machine back at a reasonable price.
Actually, that's a good point. Do they not have home computers?
I don't know.
No one mentions it, do they?
Faxes your details. They've got, basically, until Claudia got the phone line, they had 2 tin cans and a piece of string. So look, summer camp begins and the small children are awarded souvenirs that confuse the shit out of me. I don't know if you have a better explanation.
On behalf of every one of our babysitters, I have a souvenir for you, Christy announced, holding up pot holders of different colours. The BSC phone number was printed on each. That's pretty special. That's pretty nice.
So these
It's nice.
Pot holders.
It's nice.
These are things that you use like an oven glove to hold a hot pot. For when these tiny children are using ovens?
Well, we already established they're not very good babysitters.
In the film, all the kids have these pot holders pinned to their chests while they run around the club.
What, an actual size pot holder?
Well, they're like a square kind of padded thing.
Oh my God! And how do the kids react in the film?
They love it. They're excited. I think they're even trying to scam them for extra pot holders.
This is so unrealistic.
Yeah.
There'd be a riot.
Yeah, absolutely. Not far away, hidden by the crowd, 8-year-old Nicky Pike reached into a box of donuts. His friends, Daniel, Emmy, and Jonas, were rigging a slingshot out of sticks and broken balloons. Together, they shot a jelly donut high into the air. It flew over the picket fence and into the next yard. Mrs. Haberman saw it and ducked. The donut sailed over her head and wedged itself into one of her bird feeders.
Real conflict now.
Mrs. Haberman is the, grumpy woman neighbour. Rah, 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 you damn kids, you're too loud. Played by Ellen Bernstein, is that her name?
Really?
From Exorcist and from Requiem for a Dream.
Jesus, wasn't she also the mother in Flowers in the Attic?
I haven't seen it, but probably.
Yeah, she's goddamn scary. Yeah. Jesus, if I knew it was her, I would have read that character completely differently.
This scene is a bit different in the book and the film as well. We talked about hamburgers just a second ago.
Yeah.
This is the most American thing I've ever seen in my life. These are children who have constructed these weapons of war, like siege weapons.
Yeah.
And they are firing hamburgers into the air while dressed as cowboys.
Oh, wow.
That is if I was in America, every 4th of July, that would be on my screen.
Ultimate Americana.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'm sure some Republicans use that as their ads.
It's fantastic. I've never seen prouder kids more proud of their country in my life. Look, so the next big plot thing that happens, which is the other meat of the film, is Christy's deadbeat dad, which I've got experience with deadbeat dads. Always like a deadbeat dad turning up. Turns up out of nowhere to see her, but wants to keep his arrival a complete secret. And he also wants to make up for these years of neglect and resentment by owing her a pizza. He knows the way into her heart.
Yeah.
And the story for me kind of screeches to a halt every time Deadbeat Dad is on.
Very strange.
And it makes no sense, like this, as she goes to meet him for a second time.
Near the end of the day, Christy began to panic. In a few minutes, she would meet her dad at the park. what would he be like? Would he approve of her? Would he blame her for making him leave the family?
Now, he's already
There's real, yeah.
met with her
Yes.
and offered her a pizza
Yeah.
and been really friendly. So now she's wondering what he'll be like and whether he'll like her.
Don't know. Well, Christy's just so self-involved.
Pizzas aren't cheap.
She doesn't
either.
see beyond what her dad's reaction was like. Now, I have to say, I actually had more troubles with the dad than with Luca, the 17-year-old Swiss boy.
Okay, yeah.
Because the way it was written, I don't think you'd get away with that these days. There was something very strange danger about it.
Yeah.
Remember that scene, the scene in the book where he comes and picks her up, I think in a white van. It's always a white van. And the other girls are saying, you know, who's this stranger? And no one's talking about it. He wants her to keep everything secret. And then he's buying her off with hot dogs and pizza.
And he's
There's like some kind of grooming going on.
And he's
It
like,
was
bring a friend as well.
Yes.
If you notice, he's got
Yeah.
Rachel Lee Cook, who's easily like the best looking of all of them. He invites her around as well, so she's there.
Is he creepy in the film?
Yeah, he's pretty creepy.
Yeah, it's strange.
He doesn't like Buffalo Bill them and get, you know, like, help me put this couch in the van.
No,
or
that would be a different film altogether.
Where Christy's in
this guy,
in a
he's
pit
been in
and he's
heaps of 80s things.
lowering lotion down to her. No, that doesn't happen. Whoa! It's around the same time, mid-90s.
It was, yeah. Well, 92 was
natural
Silence of the Lambs.
that one might
Jesus.
inspire the other, even subconsciously.
Yeah.
Now, these crazy girls are going to turn an old greenhouse into their office.
Yeah.
We checked into it, Dawn said. It's owned by the town, but the civic committee said that if we fix it up and they approve it, we can use it. And of course, they didn't make clear that the approval is going to take 7 years of council meetings.
Yeah.
But I don't know, an office in a greenhouse. I'm thinking, forget babysitting. I think these girls are going to be selling pot in a couple of months.
Well, they've got a $4,000 profit that they want to get. You know, fax machines don't buy themselves.
Yeah.
They've already spent out on pot holders. Pot holders! Maybe it was a whole different kind of pot.
Wasn't what I thought it was.
They're sowing the seeds. Kids, they're putting the idea of pot being something desirable and that you want, and then they're taking over the greenhouse.
Look, that leads me to a thought.
That's where they need a 17-year-old.
Is like, yes, yeah. I feel like I would assume that the Babysitters Club is something very considered to be very wholesome. Is there something like people in the Midwest, etc., would go, yeah, I'm fine with you reading
Yes.
the Babysitters Club. But I found the ideas on it were so much more radical than like Harry Potter or something like that those same sort of people would rally against.
What, the greenhouse?
No, like I mean like not the greenhouse, but I mean like the 17-year-old in the relationship with Dawn. And the way the dad, like you said, the way he comes in. I think some of these ideas.
There was a lot of divorce in there too.
Yeah.
A lot of divorces.
I would think that these people would be like, oh, the Babysitters Club is really subversive. But then they pick other things as being really subversive.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, do they not think it's subversive because they want you to get married when you're 13?
Probably. And, you know, Midwest people, fathers do that bloody goddamn virginity marriage thing with their
Promise
daughters,
rings.
which is really, really creepy.
I blame the hippie girl.
I'm surprised that Christy's dad didn't bring one out when he had her in the van.
It's a perfect opportunity. And look, Cokie Mason lets off a stink bomb at the summer camp. A stink bomb in a camp full of revolting toddlers. Like anyone would even notice the difference. That's going to be the lamest attack strategy ever.
Yeah.
I was most interested in this date. So Stacey heads off on a date.
Yeah. Any minute now, Luca was going to pick her up. Nothing fancy, he'd said, just hanging out. To get the right, just hanging out on a summer day with the world's most gorgeous guy look. Stacey must have tried on 43 outfits. Her arms were numb from the work. She felt weak and nervous.
Contrast to Luca was wearing old khakis and a bandana around his neck. A canteen was strapped to his belt. You look smashing, he said. Remember in 95 when everything was smashing?
Yeah.
They're like the pumpkins. Yeah,
exactly. That's right.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of bandanas. I thought you were going to say bandanas.
Oh, I remember when I think of the 90s, like if I need to remind myself of how ugly the 90s were, I think of that show Studs. Do you remember that?
Yes.
The dating show?
Yes.
And they'd have all the hearts that looked like they were off
Oh, man, that was
and
bad.
Axl Rose bandanas
Yes.
and torn jeans, and they would pin the hearts to their chests and to their, like, all up and down their thighs.
And they were all like muscle men, weren't they?
Yeah.
They're like what you'd find at Stereosonic now.
And they would have, like, you know, like collagen lips. I'm talking about the guys. And they, you know, and they would be, like, really pouty. And and then they would, like, show footage of them drunk in a hot tub or something, and you would feel like you had a venereal disease just from watching it.
I feel it's a little bit of a stereotype of Luca as well as the Swiss boy here. You know, that he's wearing car keys, he's got a canteen strapped to his belt.
He's got
and the bandana's around his neck. It's not even somewhere cool, like, you know, around his head or around his wrist. That was very 90s, around the wrist. And, you know, what are they going to do on this dream date?
To be fair, though, this is an American film. It's lucky he's not wearing, like, lederhosen.
Yeah, like the exchange student on The Simpsons.
Talking in yodels. Lucky he wasn't too full of chocolate.
That's true.
Oh, see, this is the problem. She's got diabetes and he loves chocolate.
It's just not going to work. It's not going to work. They can overlook the 17-13, but you know, that's why she's keeping it secret. She knows. She's saying, fuck, he's from Switzerland. I've met the man of my dreams. They love their strudel and their chocolate. What am I going to do?
Well, he's leading her into the woods with the promise of finding heaven. That's the old 7-minute method.
Yeah.
Like, how suspect is he? And then when Stacey passes out, like, Luca does not give a shit about the diabetes at all. He's like, oh, you're hot. You're just hot. You're young blonde. I don't care. He's got one thing on his mind.
Stacey closed her eyes. She was feeling weak again, but this time she wasn't worried. She knew exactly what was happening. Luca's kiss was sweet enough to last her a long, long time.
Diabetes and his kiss was sweet enough to... God damn you, Peter Larangus, AL singer. Then it's the photo section. We love to talk about the photo section. Anything that kind of...
I didn't really look too hard at the photos, to be honest. I mean, I'm loving Alex Mack in there, as we previously spoke about.
And Rachel Lee Cook.
Well, see, I don't even really know who she
She's
is,
from the Josie,
to be honest.
She was Josie in the Josie and the Pussycats movie. And she looks stunning in that.
Yes, she is. Christie's done up like a tomboy, and, you know, I don't know whether they'd get away with... Who's he meant to be?
He's that... he's Alan Gray, the dweeb that likes her, yeah.
Okay.
And this kid...
this is Logan?
Logan. Isn't he like the Jungle to Jungle Tim Allen kid?
Oh, I don't know.
I think he might be.
Remember, that's a very 90s haircut. Remember that?
Yeah, remember it.
Here's the Swiss.
Look at my ID photo from wearing it. That was the Swiss, sorry, was it?
Yeah,
that was.
He was. With his khakis and...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not too bad, I think.
I guess they don't look
backwards
like...
beret, maybe? So
years apart in that. Yeah. It's like a...
I don't know. I was going to say he looks older than 17 there.
Is he wearing like a... Is that a Kangol cap?
Yeah,
like Samuel
I
L.
think
Jackson wore every time you saw him in an interview after Pulp Fiction. 93. That makes sense. Oh, and there's Ellen... with
the stink bomb.
Stink bomb, yeah.
Yeah.
And, there's Cokie.
Who's this person?
This is one of Cokie's henchmen.
This is
Cokie.
This is Cokie.
This is Cokie here.
I thought that would be Cokie.
No,
she's far prettier.
No, this is Cokie. Cokie's got that, like, Megan Fox porn star look.
Oh, that's what you want in a 13-year-old.
Yeah. Oh, and she's wearing, like, all the, like, Babysitters Club girls are dressed as, like, girls that are best friends forever and hang out, kick around, ride bikes, you know. Cokie's got, like, these big white, thigh-high white stockings and a tiny dress.
But she's got a bit of a Shirley Temple hair going on.
Yeah, no, she looks far more innocent.
So it's more like
picture.
A Lolita look.
The film comes out and you're like, yeah, Cokie.
Oh, this has to be Jessie.
Cover it up. Yeah.
So Jessie gets given her own photo.
And then there's the big group shot.
Okay, with all the kids.
You shoot this many girls at the same time. They're not all going to, like, it's not going to be flattering for everyone. And it was poor... Wait, is that Dawn? I can't remember.
No, you always get
Mary
Dawn.
Ann.
Yeah. Dawn is the blonde.
Dawn.
Not the cool blonde, which is Stacey.
I'm so confused. I can't.
Dawn's the Californian girl who was way ahead of her time. Like, she would fit in perfectly now. Gluten-free, eco-environmental, whatever she is.
I know,
It was like she was written for 2014. She would be writing a blog now, talking about her yoga, going to get her grass smoothies with, I don't know, spirulina in it. That's Dawn.
Wish they all could be California girls.
Well, if they were like Dawn, which is Alex Mack.
Alex Mack? I never saw Alex Mack.
No, you've missed out. You've missed out.
I'm not a Mackman.
Look, I bet the listeners know Alex Mack.
Okay, so look, back to the deadbeat dad, and I kind of like the what the fuck way that he distracts her from talking about the job that he was supposed to get weeks ago. He keeps stringing her along, like, oh, we'll tell everyone I'm here and we'll stop meeting in my crazy van and stuff when I get this job.
Yeah.
But this is what he says.
Soon, real soon, he dug some grapes out of the lunch bag and draped them around his ears. Personally, I like grapes with my meal. You're so silly, Christy said.
Am I missing something there? Because I read that and I'm like...
Grapes?
He pulls grapes out. She's like, actually, serious issues. When are you going to get this job?
Yeah.
You've been telling me you're going to get this job for ages. And then he's put grapes in his ears and he's like, oh, look at my wacky ear grapes.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, Dad.
And it worked.
You're
It worked.
And it's
Well,
all
see,
over.
this is the thing, I think, with those, pulp fiction-y, well, not in terms of the film, in terms of trashy writing, late 80s, early 90s, where there was a lot more divorces and things like, and people weren't pretending that everything was nice anymore. But you're writing for kids, so, they were like, okay, well, I'll give you a little bit of this, but just enough to make sure the issue's there, but we won't go into it in any kind of great depth of detail, and I think this is a perfect example of that.
They went into great depth of detail. Look, actually, to be fair, everybody here is acting like they're drunk. It was lunchtime. The campers were swapping sandwiches. Jamie Newton placed a Band-Aid on a broken potato chip. Margot Pike, who had carefully peeled a banana with her feet, placed it in between her toes and offered it to Susie. My mum's ears are longer than her arms, said Susie, ignoring the banana. And these are the adults.
It's the pot.
Yes, the greenhouse. The greenhouse business is just rocking.
That's right.
Okay, so we get to bored author racing through events now, and we usually mirror that at this point.
Yeah.
Lots of angst with Christy. She's still keeping her father secret. She's fighting with her friends, doing the "you're not my father" thing at her stepdad, all very cliche.
Yeah.
But this is the worst/best bit of the film.
Okay.
To teach Claudia biology,
Oh my
so
God,
that she doesn't
yeah.
flunk, they make up the world's worst rap. If anyone's only going to watch one scene of this film, watch the rap scene, and I bet it's on YouTube just isolated because it's that good.
Okay. Am I doing this?
Yeah.
Clap. Stomp. Clap. Stomp. Using their hands and feet, everyone began beating a rhythm. Claudia watched in bewilderment as they started rapping. Yes, rapping! They had planned it, written it out, and the words of the rap were all parts of the body Claudia needed to know about. The cerebral cortex, the cerebellum, the
Hippopotamus.
Thank you. Or the chambers of the heart. The song was hilarious, but also incredibly helpful. Claudia realised how much work had gone into it, how much caring. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry.
What I like about this happens occasionally in the novelization, where the author is committing. He's committing to all the bullshit that the screenwriters are serving up. But then there's that one thing that just kind of breaks them, where their like suspension of disbelief just crumbles and they start to editorialize about what's going on.
Yeah.
And I feel that this was his breaking point, where he's like, yes, rapping. Like they had planned it. They had written it out. Seriously? Because none of these girls, they're lovely girls, but they're not rappers.
No,
they're not.
They wouldn't be.
They're really not. It's the most awkward thing you'll ever see.
Oh, it was cringeworthy just reading it on the page.
It's a shame they didn't write the lyrics in full in the book, because it was pretty crazy. Otherwise, we could have reenacted it.
Look, I might have got through chemistry if someone had rapped for me.
Well, you've got to wonder how, well this works, and we'll find out in a minute that it's
Yeah.
actually a very effective method for study.
Okay.
But this, for me, is the best line in the book. I'm always looking for, because it's not just about making fun. I think when an author really churns out a great phrase, we need to appreciate it. And she looked at her cereal, which was slowly becoming a mushy, soggy lump, just like her heart.
I don't even remember that line.
Mushy, soggy lump.
When did that come in?
Oh, it was Christy, I think. Like, she's dealing with this
Oh, yeah.
dad and his deadbeats. Wasn't hard with a book about young children to find an out-of-context comedy corner, but I did like, Christy, look at Nanny's tomatoes. They're huge. And then the book skips the great scene, naturally, where Claudia is struggling with a test. Because in the book, she just comes back from the test and says, I got it. But in the film, she's sitting there and she's looking at her paper and she's really starting to sweat. She's like, I'm going to flunk the flunk out of this flunker. And then suddenly she starts thinking and remembering, and the rap starts to echo in her head. And then she has that kind of, nodding moment. And then she just starts acing this thing. She's writing down all the answers furiously because it works. It's a, what is it, a mnemonic device? Sort of like that?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Johnny Mnemonic, Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Fantastic film. No way! Meanwhile, Stacey's cavalcade of terrible decisions continues. Stacey and Claudia go to New York City with Luca, the 17-year-old.
It's about time. So they met 3 of Luca's friends at a wild restaurant where just about everyone was dressed in black and had great hair. That's wild. How does Luca have friends? He's just arrived from Switzerland.
I don't know how the restaurant ensures that everybody in there has cool clothes and wild hair. Seems like a bit of a tough one. And when the girls refuse alcohol and they can't get into a club, Luca finally figures out that she's 13. And to his credit, this time he does freak out. This time he's like, you're a child. I can't do this. Yeah. And he's not cool with it. So I thought that was a bit redeeming. It wasn't like the diabetes thing where he was just like, it's cool, baby. It's cute, baby. Ow! And then there's this weird subplot for Dawn where she goes to grouchy neighbours Mrs. Haberman's house, only to discover that
she stopped in front of a group of framed photos. One showed a young woman in fatigues with cameras slung around her neck. Next to it, the same woman was in hiking gear on top of a mountain.
I feel like this is a trope where it's one of those weird, crazy teenage revelations. You see this in movies where the teenager realizes that, just because Mrs. Haberman is old and doesn't like having hamburgers catapulted at her head, doesn't mean that she wasn't young once and had a fulfilling life.
Yeah.
She's just like, you're like a real person, but wrinklier.
Well, I kind of wanted her to be more like Mrs. Havisham from what's-it-called?
Great expectations. Everything's covered in dust. She's wearing her.
That would have been a little bit more appropriate.
She's wearing a wedding dress.
Yes.
Look, such high stakes here, Leah. Christy is late for her own birthday party, and the hot dogs. I don't want to alarm our American listeners, but they are getting cold.
They're getting cold.
Cokie and her friends toilet paper and spray paint the greenhouse and get stuck in cement. Crazy Cokie.
Yeah.
But at least Stacey reconciles with Luca in pretty much the creepiest way imaginable.
Luca leaned closer to her. Stacey, I didn't tell you. I'm coming back next summer. Stacey looked into his eyes and realised he wasn't angry. Far from it. I'll be 14, she said hopefully. I know, Luca replied, and he kissed her.
I think you meant to say, I'm coming on your back next summer. Pineapple! Isn't that I'll be 14 is the creepiest line of dialogue in the entire film. That is so wrong. And the way it happens in the movie,
really?
It's like it's raining.
Oh.
And that sort of, steamy love scene in a middle-aged person's soap opera kind of music starts. It's a little bit sassy, it's a little bit brassy.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'll be 14. And he's like, ow! And then they're going at it. Tongues are tied. So deadbeat dad skips town, the girls clean up the greenhouse, and when the committee inspects it, it turns out Mrs. Haberman is actually one of the committee. She makes them bend the rules because this depressing business is not going to make more than $1,500 in the entire year, and the rule is they can't have it if they're going to make more than $1,500. Yeah. Mrs. Haberman's like, I've met these girls, not a fucking chance in the world that they're going to clear $1,500.
Yeah.
Even though it's split between 7 people. And what if Cokie Mason, though?
Whoa, Koki cried. She let go of the branch to shield herself from the ball. She caught the line drive and fell backwards out of the tree. Screaming, she landed in an open dumpster. When she hoisted herself out, her face was grey with soot and her hair was coated with debris.
And syringes.
Alan burst out laughing. Alan's laughing at her. That's saying a lot.
Even the
Alan,
dweeb is laughing.
One by one, Christy and her friends joined him. Then Mrs. Haberman. Oh, Mrs.
I know.
Haberman. Jeez.
Didn't that surprise me, actually?
Then, finally, the other members of the Stony Brook Committee. Then Christy ran to Jackie and gave him a high five. Well, they're showing kids good values, aren't they? Hey, Jackie, this is what you do. You laugh at people.
Yeah, when they get injured.
Yeah.
This is our new, axe to grind, actually, on the show.
Yeah.
Because there's quite a lot of movies that end, I'm going to say American movies again, but they end with the hero. There's someone that's been, not necessarily a villain, but someone that's been like a thorn in their side the whole time. Mm-hmm. And finally, the empowered hero goes, oh, yeah, one-liner, and punches them at the end. And everybody laughs or whatever, and the person goes away. And we were talking about this in the Frozen podcast.
Oh, okay.
Because they punch the guy twice at the end of Frozen, the bad guy. He's already down after the big muscly dude punches him. And then our hero, Anna, punches him as well. We know, about one-punch things here in Perth.
True.
One punch can kill. It's not a good thing. You're down, we've got you, you're humiliated, and now we're going to, physically hurt you as well. And then we're all going to high-five about it. And Frozen is the most beloved kids movie of the decade.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
And then punching. It's like the cheese from Luca's home country. It's just completely full of holes.
Oh, yeah.
Great songs.
What? Everyone's going on about it. And even adults told me, oh, yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
So I watched it. I thought it's not. Yeah. It's the same old Disney.
It's the same thing.
Schlock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I feel it. And this is the ending. We'll read the ending. We'll take turns on this.
Here we go.
An entire summer's profit. Was it 4,000? Was it 1,500?
It was $18.
So much for my big money ideas, Christy thought.
But she tried to look on the bright side. That would be enough for a decent pizza party.
Around her, everyone jockeyed for position, laughing, cracking jokes, making faces. For the first time in weeks, Christy felt like herself again. Boy, was that a nice feeling.
She still missed her dad, maybe even more than before. But at least she knew him, and that was a start.
Maybe even more important, the BSC had survived. The friendships may have been battered a bit, but they were still there.
Okay, everyone lean in and say trees, Mrs. Haberman called.
Trees!
Mrs. Haberman clicked the shutter and everyone in BSC collapsed with laughter.
In the midst of it all, Christy remembered a saying her mom had once told her, if you can count the number of your friends on one hand, that's a lot.
Christy felt very, very lucky. She was way ahead.
By one? She had 6 friends.
Yeah, well, there you go.
5 fingers, 6 friends.
It's better than 5. Yeah. That's
better
what
than
6 says to 5.
Being born without fingers or toes.
Well, yeah, true. Or losing your toes in Mount Everest.
That's true as well. That can happen.
Yeah, see, this is very skewed, isn't it? She's lost her dad again.
Yes.
It's feeling bad about this, but then, more important than maybe feeling she knows her dad a little bit more, is that the BSC survived. More important than a relationship with a father is that this $18 money-making venture has survived to live another day in the greenhouse.
The summer is 3 months long. They made $18 in that time. And the most depressing thing is, not only are they love this club, but they're really bad at it. And they can't make the money. When they finally save up all this money, which to be fair, at this rate, for a decent fax machine, I'm thinking it's going to be late 90s. They're going to have a fax machine, finally, and everybody's going to be just emailing.
That's right.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Then the book ends with a list of 76 BSC books, including, these are my favourite titles, Dawn Saves the Planet,
Jessie and the Dance School Phantom.
The Dance School Phantom. Menaced by a phantom in the dance school.
Yeah.
And Mary Ann and Too Many Boys. Sounds like a Marilyn Monroe film or something.
Yes.
I just thought Dawn Saves the Planet. That sounds way more high stakes than what we just read. I think she flies around it backwards a couple of times through reverse time.
Oh, maybe it was Captain Planet. Maybe she.
Yeah,
remember she's
be.
environmentalist.
Power of Heart.
Yeah.
Like little
That's right.
Kwame. I don't know his name. And I like to. Oh, I've got to ask you. I always ask this. We actually are obliged. Although we'll shut down the show if I don't. Was the book better?
Wow. Can I admit that I didn't see the film?
I never watched the film. This is one of the rare times.
So then the book was definitely better.
Well, you come from a history of the book. You're a supporter of the books.
That's right.
Anne M. Martin for life.
Yeah.
And one Amazon review I want to read. The story was great, but sometimes it made me sad. Christy was torn between her father and her friends. Then Claudia flunked science and had to go to summer school. With all this going on, the club was running a summer camp and Coking Mason tried to steal Logan, Mary Ann's boyfriend. The story was great but sad.
Sums it up nicely.
Did you cry during it? Tears? I cried a little.
Oh, only when the donuts went to waste.
I know.
Over into the garden. Other than that.
Well, holy crap, thank you so much, Leah, for finally, doing this.
You're welcome. Thank you for the
I
invitation.
can't believe you didn't want to do Howard the Duck, but I'm glad we were able to do Babysitter's
Well, so this is more up my alley now,
Yeah.
you know. It's all class with me.
Yeah.
Babysitter's Club.
Well, look, you were fantastic. So much better than everybody else that's ever been on the show.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. Bunch of pretenders by comparison. So thank you so much. And
Thank you.
look, is there anything else you wanted to add or say, or before I do the boring plug bit?
No, music away or
Okay.
plug away.
I just want to say, speaking of Frozen, we had this wonderful thing happen. First, apologies for missing the last 2 weeks of the show. I was going to do a mini cast to let people who are not on the Facebook page know. But for those who are on the Facebook page, you would have known. So come and join the Facebook page. Like us on Facebook, come and join the discussion in our group. There'll always be a thread. The group is called The Book Was Better. You'll have to ask to be added, and then I'll go, yeah, sure, absolutely, come on in. But one of the wonderful things that happened on there post-Frozen was one of our listeners, Lauren P., not to be confused with Lauren McL, wrote a parody version of Do You Want to Build a Snowman, which was all about this very show. And then Lizzie Unpronounceable pulled out the ukulele and did a lo-fi version of that song and recorded it. So rather than our normal closing theme, I'm going to play Do You Want to Make a Do a Podcast? Something like that. And the lyrics are on the site if you want to see those. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much, Leah. Next week is going to be Poltergeist, the Steven Spielberg produced Ghost in the Television film, the scary clown.
I wasn't allowed to watch that.
It's really still scary.
Yeah.
It's good. And joining me on that will be the strange little animal known as Courtney C. Going to be in here, jumping around, tethered to a post. And so you don't know the catchphrase, Leah, to get us out.
Oh.
What happened is at the very first episode, Jess, who's the original co-host, whose baby this is, before she selfishly had a real baby and abandoned me, said, I say baby, it's more of like this hairy kind of cryptozoic thing.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
It's really weird. I'll show you a picture later, but not if you've eaten recently. She goes at the end of the first episode, so we'll catch you on the flips. No, I don't want to say that. And then I was like, no, that's your thing now. That's
okay.
So every episode she says, I'll catch you on the flips.
Okay.
And that's it. And a lot of the listeners who come on and do the show, they go, oh, can I say that? So
it's revered.
So would you like to say it?
So I don't actually say the word. I just let it.
Catch you on the flips, and then just let it sort of peter out. And then I'll say my little bit that I do that Suzanne always goes, don't say that at the end of the show. What are you doing that for? I do it because if I don't, people will complain.
Will complain.
Yeah. Okay. We have rules, regulations, charters. You know how it is.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
I'll catch you on the flip.
Jumanji.
Lucas? Do you wanna do a podcast? You just have to press play. The seal is not on anymore. Just hit record and release it on Tuesday. Oh Luke, you are so punny, but now you're not. I wish we could have some pride. Do you wanna do a podcast? Doesn't have to be FP cast.
Go away, Jess.
Okay, bye. Do you wanna do a podcast? We'll talk about Annie's balls. Think some hamburgers are overdue, just like the pockets do, where I can keep them all. And my fries, it gets a little lonely watching it download, just watching the hours tick by. Luke, please, I know you're in there. People asking where Jess been. You say here's Lizzie and I'm happy too, when it's Courtney and you or even Tim. We all have each other, we're all on FB. What are we gonna do? Do you wanna do a podcast?